I'm running a clinic which started to do longevity 100 years ago almost, so probably we have been the first. And I have to tell you that I had to change my first slide because last week I received a call from United States and was a journalist who told me, Mr. Gibertoni, I need to speak with you about longevity because ChatGPT told me that I need to speak with you. And it was the first time that I heard that ChatGPT was telling somebody what to do. But in fact, I changed my first definition of what is a longevity clinic. And I asked to ChatGPT, what is a longevity clinic? And I have to tell you that the explanation has been wonderful. You will see it on the screen. When we talk about a longevity clinic, we talk about this idea of promoting optimal health, about anticipating disease, about the importance of diagnostic, about this idea of really targeting the underlying cause of aging. So this is what we do, and you see it's ChatGPT. This is what we do in a longevity clinic. Is a field which is growing. Is a field which is growing very fast. There are a lot of players in different industries which are getting into this field. Why? Because even in the richest part of the population today, health is the priority, and the majority of the people, you can look at all the statistics, they feel that there is nobody which is able to take care of their health in the right way. I was telling you there are a lot of players which are getting into this market, from hotel business, from the tech company, the medical clinics, but there are very different cultural point here when we talk about longevity. It's difficult for people coming from the hotel business because, you know, in the hotel, if somebody is asking you a bottle of whiskey, you have to give the bottle of whiskey. If you are in the longevity clinic, you cannot do it. In food business, everybody is talking about the people working in the food business, longevity, but we know that the problem is that we have too much food in the Western countries, not enough food. Same for the big tech. We need a personal approach. It's not enough the digital part. And the medical clinics, in the traditional hospital, we are used to cure disease, not to do what is called functional medicine or preventive medicine. When we talk about longevity, we could talk a lot about longevity. Let me give you just six points which are crucial when we talk about what is longevity, and the point that I'm sure that you are also discussing a lot. First of all, we are not focusing anymore on the disease. We are focusing on the person. When you go to the doctor today, you talk about the disease. They rarely look at you as a person. This is what we do when we talk about longevity. The second point is that we focus on what is called slow disease, chronic disease, and not of fast disease. Very important, this idea of taking care of chronic disease. We move from the intervention to the diagnostic of the intervention. So what's happening before there is the disease? We give priority to health span instead of lifespan. So it means that we want to live longer, yes, but we want to live a healthy life for longer time. And then we don't focus on tactics, but we focus on motivation and goals. What does it mean? You all know what you should do, that you should eat more veggies, that you should move more, but why we are not doing it? I always say, we were just sharing before, talking about yoga and transcendental meditation. If you look at all the studies that Harvard did on transcendental meditation, there are over 600 studies. I always say that people would pay millions to get the pills which is giving you the benefit of transcendental meditation. But unfortunately, it takes 20 minutes twice a day, so very few people are doing it. It's very fun, you know? And the last point, which is also probably the most important, is that today longevity and medicine in general is becoming very, very personalized. You heard the word about genetic, epigenetic, pharmacogenetic. So this idea that we can be very personalized in the intervention that we do. We don't have time to go into the new trend of longevity, but if you have time, take notes about these 12 hallmarks of longevity. You can find them online. It's probably the most complete research on longevity that you can find, and there you will find very interesting information about longevity. Are we going in the right direction? If you read especially what American researchers are telling you, they're telling you in 5 years we are going to reach the eternal life. Unfortunately, my friend, we are not going in this direction at all. United States are decreasing the average length of life, not increasing, and it's the 3rd year in a row that United States is decreasing this. You can read all the statistics. If we don't want to go to United States, we can take Europe. In Europe, half of the people over 60 years old, they have at least one chronic disease. So we are not going in the right direction. And you see there are these charts showing that if you clean the mortality rate of the top 8 infectious disease, basically the mortality rate has been the same in the last 100 years. So there is a lot to do on this, but you will be happy to see that women are living in average 5 years more than men. Our mission in our clinic is to help and inspire people to live a longer, healthier, and better life. So at the end, it's we were talking about purpose of the company. So this idea of helping people is at the core of what we have to do in the longevity clinics. And we have another belief which is very strong that, again, we will not find the magic pills. We have this idea of the 4 pillars I'm going to mention to you because when we talk about intervention on longevity, we believe that we need to focus on the medical part, which is very important, but there is one part which is related to nutrition, which is as important as the medical part, one part which is related to well-being. There is a lot of treatment, but there is all the stress management, which, as we know, is so important. And there is the last part, which is focus on movement, with, again, the point that all these therapies, all this technique now can be very much customized on you. Now we are building a lot of clinics, a lot of centers, and we want to represent physically these 4 pillars because we want people to always remind that if they want to live longer, they need to focus on these 4 points together. Now, you also asked me you is a company which is 100 years old. What are you doing? What you felt to do? When I came, there was only one place, by the way, not far from here, which is Montreux. But I immediately said, people are coming to our place for 1 week. And I said, it's not enough. We need to change the life of the people for the longer term. And so there were a few questions that I wanted to answer. How can I be with my client wherever they are, every day? How can I deliver real efficacy to them using the best tool? And there was this idea, first of all, for our client, really, how can we move from short-term result to long-term result? This was the key objective of our strategy when we redesigned the strategy of the company. And then, can we build a vision which is not a vision on 3 years, on the next 3 years, but which is a vision on the next 15 years? And we drafted a vision that we call Vision 2040, which is what is going to be with us for the next 15 years. So this idea of really having a long-term objective for the company. We don't have time to go through this, but we build this ecosystem, putting at the center the client, building physical places. We are building now other clinics. We are building what we call longevity hub, which are centered in all the cities where we can follow up our client. We call it strategic vertical, so it's the first one on the left. Then products that we can give to our clients. Then this idea of innovation. People in longevity, people that come to the clinics in general, they want result. At the end, we have the responsibility to deliver result. And then at the end, technology, which is still very important. Some of you have a watch or an Apple Watch or some other devices. It's true, technology, if it's inserted inside this ecosystem, can help us to change the behavior, which is what we want at the end. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I think it's interesting when you were talking about living longer, right? And then you also have the same approach to how to run the organization. Because sometimes these days it's also fast. Okay, a business start, it closes again, a new one, change job, change this, change that. But how to also stick with something for that long and still innovate and renew. Can you share some thoughts about renewing oneself or the approach to work also when you stay in the same organization? Have you thought of that?
Sure. I think, first of all, there is this concept of infinite game, which I like very much in companies. Now, this idea that is not a finite game, but we should always strive to keep the company successful as long as possible. And if you ask me, it's also very much related to innovation, but I think the key for all of us running a company or doing whatever other activity should be to wake up every morning and ask ourselves what I can do better today. What is just one small thing that I can do better every day? And if we apply this principle to the company, how can I do better with my clients today? Again, a small 0.1% compound every year can make huge result and can really change in a very short term the company and giving sustainability to the company. So this would be the first suggestion that I would give.
That's great. Thank you. So what can I do better today? Wonderful. Thank you so much, Simone. Warm up.